Welcome to Ag Matters, covering positive agriculture stories from across Alaska on Big Cabbage Radio.
Hello, this is Ken Hoffman. You're listening to Ag Matters. I'm the host of the show, and I'm the owner of Matsu Microgreens, a small farm out here in Palmer. And I'm also the executive director of the Matsu Farm Bureau. So if anyone out there is interested in joining the Farm Bureau and connecting with more farmers and networking, you can email me at matsufarmbureau@gmail.com, or you can visit our website at alaskafb.org. So today's guest is a friend of mine from the market, Mike Jipping with Beach Tribe Soda Works. So Mike, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks.
Excellent. All right. Well, let's get started with your story. You're here in Anchorage, but how did you get to Anchorage? How did you get into beverages and things like that and markets? So just start us off with that.
Yeah, I'll just give you a quick version, but I'm from Holland, Michigan. Grew up there, went to high school, went to college, got my undergraduate at Kelvin College, and then came up to Alaska to visit a friend when I was in high school out in Naknek. And after college, I came up here, and this is where I met my wife, and the rest is history.
Okay, cool. So how did you get into beverages exactly? Because I know you do ginger beers and things like that. So how did you get into that market?
Yeah, so I started working with the Moose's Tooth. I think it was in the late 90s. And I worked at Moose's Tooth, and then I worked at the Bear Tooth doing special events, and then started Beach Tribe Soda Works in 2017, basically on the premise that people around town were looking for more non-alcoholic beverages that didn't have so much sugar. They really wanted to see local beverages, and they did like, a lot of the sodas, but they were looking for something more healthy as an alternative. And being part of Beartooth Special Events, as a special events coordinator, I worked with a lot of different people in the community. So I worked with the entrepreneurship group, and I was doing a food film festival with a lot of the foodies and ag people. And so, I don't know, at some point it all came together, and I think someone pushed me off the cliff to get this thing started. Didn't really have experience in the beverage industry per se. I had done some home brewing of beer, but this whole thing was and is still to this day a big learning experience.
Let's talk about the farmers markets. I know you have a couple products that you sell at the farmers market. What are your most popular products that you make and sell at the markets?
Yeah, so I started making the ginger beer, and that is how I started at South Anchorge Farmers Market, by making ginger beer with cold pressed juice. So I have a commercial cold pressed juicer, and I juice ginger and lemon and habanero, and then I use raw honey in my brew. So that's how I got started. For the first year or so, I was literally just brewing in a 5-gallon keg, and I was actually handing out tons of samples and then selling that way. Now, over time, from the Soda Works, I've developed lots of different flavors. So I have ginger beer. I have one that's called the Red Dragon Punch, which is a pomegranate lemonade. I have Citrus Wizard, which is an orange. I have the Spark, which is lemon, ginger, habanero, sparkling water. We have lots of different seasonals. So I did one called the Matanuska Hayride, and that's an apple cider soda. We just did one recently that's grapefruit, lime, Prince William Sound sea salt. I've done CBD, so lots of different flavors of soda. And then the South Anchorage Farmers Market has really helped me develop the cold pressed juice, and it's really helped me connect with all the farmers. I've been buying products, or I should say produce, from the farmers, and then juicing it and then selling it to the customers. So we often buy carrot from Pam out there and beet. We do rhubarb. We get apples. So things like that, and then turn them over and sell them at the market.
Yeah, for sure. We became friends at the South Anchorage Farmers Market, and one of my favorite products that you make is the Citrus Wizard. I am personally almost addicted to that stuff. It's just so good. I know when I'm sick and I have a sore throat, once I melt one of those cans down, it goes away completely. It's just all natural stuff. It's so great. But if you could define for us, what does cold pressed mean?
So it's pretty simple. The produce, ginger or whatever it is, and I just put it in a hopper, and it's just a hydraulic press that presses all the juice out of it. That's the simplest way I can explain it. With some of the centrifugal juicers, they're doing lots of spinning. There's spinning and there's heat involved, even if it is fairly minimal. And so this is a process that, I don't know, I feel like they found it probably like in the 50s or 60s, but realistically over the last like 10 to 15 years, commercially, they've been developing cold pressed juicers that are a lot more efficient and cost effective.
Okay, so what is your flagship product, like their number one product that you make and that you sell? Would you say it's your Jipping Ginger Beer?
Yeah, it's still the ginger beer, and it's mostly, that's just the way that we've been marketing. So I contract brew and can out of the Broken Tooth Brewery, and we've been slowly scaling it up to the point where now I'm making 15-barrel batches of ginger beer. And then most recently, I started also doing 15-barrel batches of Red Dragon Punch. But I don't have a distributor. We're doing all independent distribution, and it's not just me. I mean, I've been getting a lot of help from like Arctic Harvest. Linford of Alaska recently has helped out a ton. I send things up to Fairbanks through Charlie's, down to the peninsula through Orange Bike deliveries. So there's lots of different ways that it gets around, but I think it mostly is because that's where it started and that's the way we've been marketing it. But the Citrus Wizard is definitely one that's been picking up speed most recently as we've been producing more of it.
So I'm curious, what is the process to make your Jipping Ginger Beer? Work us through that, from collecting your ingredients, what ingredients you use, the chopping up or the juicing process, the fermenting process, the canning process. It'd be really cool if you could just walk the audience through that.
Sure. Well, I'm trying to stick with the keep it simple soda. And so the ingredients are just simply the four ingredients: honey. So when you're talking about the honey, I'm doing my best to get the best honey that I can. And of course, raw Alaska honey would be the best. And I have gotten quite a bit of raw Alaska honey. I think last year we did over 1,000 pounds of Alaska honey, but I've been getting honey from the U.S. and I've been working with other brewers to help, leverage the shipments up here. So first I find the honey, and then the next thing is ginger, just raw ginger. Same thing with that. I procure the best possible, and a lot of it has been coming most recently from Peru, and I go through Di Tomaso, Charlie's, and of course we would love to get more Hawaiian ginger, but that hasn't been as easy. And also, we're trying to inspire some local ginger, which we have been able to grow a little bit, but that's not real cost effective. Lemons, getting fresh lemons up as often as possible from California, and then habanero generally comes from Mexico. So first I procure the fresh produce, then to prepare it, the ginger, we food process it, and then after you chop it all up, put it in the press that into juice, and then with all of our juice, we put it into the brew pot along with some water, and then we'll bring that up to temp for, time, and then we move it into a tank and carbonate it there. And from the tank, we force carbonate it, and then we either put it in kegs or in cans. And then because this product, it has been pasteurized, I say lately pasteurized, but it has been pasteurized, it still needs to stay refrigerated. And so cans and kegs go into the refrigerator, and it is a cold process or a cold chain. And so that also has been a challenge. But right now we've been keeping it at Linford and then moving it around from there.
Okay, cool. So I want to talk about your brand. Your business name is Beach Tribe Soda Work. What inspired that name, Beach Tribe, and what is kind of like your brand's focus on what you're trying to push with that? Are you trying to push like healthy lifestyle, local products? What is it?
All the above, yes, that you just mentioned. But yeah, the Beach Tribe came from I'm a commercial fisherman in the summertime in Bristol Bay, set netter. And so the name came from us working hard on the boat, coming up with, we have a lot of time to chat. And so Beach Tribe came from that, as well as my wife is from the beaches of California and I'm from the beaches of Michigan. So when we used to argue about who had better beaches, so it's definitely been a passion of ours. And then the Beach Tribe is essentially, the focus on community, and that it takes a tribe to raise a business or raise a family. And so we've been really having a good time with that. But yeah, it's like focused on healthy lifestyles, fun, adventurous, play, and, inspiring, and also being part of as many local products as possible.
Sure. This is Ken Hoffman with Ag Matters. We're interviewing my friend Mike Jipping with Beach Tribe Soda Works. And I would like to ask you, so you're at the farmers market, the South Anchorage Farmers Market. What juices, cold pressed juices, do you normally have on your menu? I know you have 4 primary products that you bottle, that you can carbonate in cans, but you also have various varieties of juices. How many varieties do you normally have at a single market, and how many different recipes have you made?
Yeah, I love that question. I have no clue. I mean, that's where the fun really comes. I'd say that, it's been really cool to have the sodas go all over. We have sodas in some of the grocery stores like Natural Pantry, New Sagaya, La Bodega, Blue Market, Roaming Root, things like that. But the juices we only sell through the market, retail at the market, hand to hand. And so we're able to really connect with everybody there, all the farmers. And so it really does change seasonally. And so when you come into the market in May, you're going to see something completely different than when you come to the market in August, September. August and September is when the harvest season. And so, we're able to get, and we have done lots of fun stuff with carrot juice, with beet juice, with, celery. We were really into buying celery from the Rempels for a bit and realized that there's a whole cult of celery juice lovers, and that there's all these benefits of celery juice. And then I'd say, though, more as staples, we found our niche with margarita mix. We have, every week we come to the market with fresh margarita mix, which is lime juice, orange juice, and just a dash of agave. So it's real fresh, real light, really tart, not sweet and heavy. And then we'll always come with lemon juice, with lime juice, with ginger juice, with grapefruit juice, like just straight juices, because there are a lot of juice companies here. Well, there aren't a lot, but there's a few juice companies here in town that are open, 6 or 7 days a week. But we're trying to do something that's just a little bit different that they can't get there. And so lime juice, for instance, may sound like something that you could buy anywhere, but ours is fresh, not pasteurized, and people can use it for ceviche or for baking or, however they want. Same with ginger juice. Rarely do people get fresh, unpasteurized ginger juice. But then we start, having fun during the seasons, and we'll have things with apple juice or with watermelon or with pineapple. We'll have different kinds of pears and then we also have been messing around with tea. We really would like to do some more stuff with the rhodiola here in town. We've had fun with Liz over at the Spice and Tea Exchange, where we'll get mate or matcha or, various kinds of, we did this one with this lap thing, like really smoky tea. And we'll use say something like butterfly pea blossom or, we're just trying to make some drinks that people can take home and make cocktails with, or mocktails. The whole mocktail world has been a lot of fun. So if you do have any suggestions, or if people want to give us feedback, if they send us messages through social media, then we do our best to fulfill that.
Okay, excellent. What are some Alaska-grown products that you would like to maybe partner up with? I know that you frequently purchase our red currants for some of your red currant lemonades and things like that. But what are some other Alaska-grown products that you would love to use more of, and that maybe if there was a farmer out there that grows them, how they could get in contact with you and maybe work out a business deal?
Yeah, the red currant is a great example. That has been going over huge, and I would like to do some more of that, come up with a soda for that. The rhodiola, birch, some of the various vegetables, even for juice. The rhubarb, I think we could do a ton more with rhubarb. I think we could do a ton more with the different kinds of apples. I'm kind of having a brain freeze right now, but...
Well, very good, very good. Well, Mike, how do people place an order to get some of your products? Or is it the best way just to go to the South Anchorge Farmers Market and see what you have in stock?
I think the best thing would be to, we have a website, we have Facebook and Instagram, so you can follow us and then also connect with us that way. You can purchase some things through our online store. A lot of the sodas are around town, and on our website we have a list of those. Anchorage Greens has been another place that we've done a lot of work with, and we've used some of their herbs, some of the different basil, some of the mint, lemongrass, different things to either use as garnishes or to juice up and use in our drinks. But at Anchorage Greens, you can actually buy some of the juice out of their refrigerator using a QR code. But then, of course, you have to come down to Anchorage Market. I would say that South Anchorage Farmers Market is where we have the most variety, and that way we connect with people one-on-one.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Mike, for coming on as a guest. You've been a good friend of mine for years and years, and I never knew about some of these processes and different drinks that you've made, so I learned a lot on this and appreciate you making the time to come on, and I'll see you at the market.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Ken. I really appreciate it. This has been super cool, and keep up the good work. I like your podcast, and I like this show, so I look forward to seeing you soon.
All right. Thanks, Mike. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
You've been listening to Ag Matters, covering positive agriculture stories from across Alaska. Ag Matters is a production of Radio Free Palmer, recorded at our studios in Palmer, Alaska. For more information about this program, email manager@radiofreepalmer.org.